Bullet for My Valentine are returning to Australia for their second appearance at Soundwave 2013, and it's definitely perfect timing for the band as they unleashed their brand new record, Temper Temper. Let's make welcome to the airways on Australia's premier 24/7 rock metal radio station, AndrewHaug.com. Hello, Mr. Matt Tuck.
Hello.
How you doing?
I'm doing very well, thank you.
Alrighty, well let's get underway with the very first question. The new haircut. Why and what happened to Mr. Tuck?
Don't know, just wanted to change, so just whipped it off. Just simple as that, really. Just had it for like so many years now that I just feel like I wanted to change. And new cycle, new kind of look. Thought it was the right time to do it, so off it came.
And how did it feel once you sort of got into rehearsal mode and you went to do that infamous windmill and all of a sudden nothing was there?
It was a lot better on my back and my neck, put it that way. That stuff is, it looks cool on stage, but doing that for year after year can take its toll on your poor little body, you know what I mean? So it's good. It's got to an age now where kind of that stuff has got to stop in a way. I've seen so many guys get injuries. I know it sounds stupid, but you know, I don't want to go down the road of getting surgery and stupid stuff like that just because I'm banging my head.
Well, I still have my locks, Mr. Tuck, but I know that from what I've been told, for those who don't have them, there's more damage done when you don't have hair. Look at Kerry King, the biggest neck in metal.
Yeah, it's true, but you know, so did Tom Murray have hair, and he's the one that's having the back surgery, not Kerry. So it's you know, it doesn't bode well for brittle bones when you get in on a little bit. So.
Yeah, that's a fair call. All right, well, let's move on to the brand new record. Now, I read it was somewhat recorded spontaneously in the studio. Can you elaborate on the process and sort of how much was written before you actually entered?
Yeah, sure. Absolutely zero was pretty much written before we went into the studio. That was kind of the way we wanted to do it. We didn't want to go in there and kind of regurgitate and re-record all the stuff we accumulated along the way. So we just went in there and wrote and recorded as we went along, as it was happening. So it was just a very refreshing way of doing things, and just kind of captured a spontaneous, energetic kind of way of writing music, really. It was something we've never done before, but it worked beautifully this time.
Now, obviously, you probably didn't have as much as what Metallica spent when they wrote the Black Album in that same process, sort of writing in the studio as you went. So did you feel that once you walked out of there, you were entirely happy that you did everything on the fly and there weren't things you wanted to go back and change or any sort of final nitpicking during the ending of the process?
No, everything was fine. You know, we did have the luxury of like not having to settle for anything, you know what I mean? So if there was something we needed to change, we did. Like, we recorded an original version of the song Temper Temper as well, and we recorded that pretty much in the last week while I was doing the vocal session because we just weren't happy with it. So, you know, we never settled for anything, and if there is something we need to do, we'll you know, fortunately we're in a position where we can kind of speak up and say, you know, we're not happy with that, we need to go redo it, and there's no kind of question in it, really. We just get on with it, and, you know, our label management, thankfully, you know, they know how strict we are on ourselves on the quality control, and if we think it's good enough, then, you know, it's happy days.
Now, the band certainly has a bit of a formula of songwriting, and I mean, did you feel like you'd broken some of that formula when you took that approach of recording spontaneously? I mean, was this also an urge to maybe break out of the comfort zone just a bit as well?
In a way, yeah. It was more kind of just like gotten to a point in the career where I didn't feel like we needed to waste time doing that anymore. It's like, you know, like the traditional way, like you said, is like, you know, you write songs over a bunch of time, and you do demos, and then you do pre-production with the producer, and then you re-record all of that stuff. And it just seemed like such a long-winded, boring, expensive process of doing things. When, you know, I'm on, this is my fourth full-length record, my fifth including the Axwound record, and it's just like, you know what, I just want to go in there and write as I go along. I don't want to kind of do this way anymore, you know what I mean? And it came out so much better, and it cost half the money, and it took half the time as well, you know what I mean? So it's like just a formula that, yeah, it was a little bit kind of uncomfortable for everyone who didn't realize how it was going to be done.
Yep.
But I was totally confident it could be done that way, and, you know, as soon as they gave me the green light, it was just straight in there and did it, you know.
Well, you mentioned before also about the Axwound project. Now, how much of this is sort of an outlet away from Bullet for My Valentine, and are you a little bit cautious about sort of blurring the lines between the two, especially to do with sort of conflicting musical ideas?
Yeah, it's very important that those two bands are completely separate from each other stylistically and everything, you know what I mean? That's why I didn't even want to kind of sing on that album at all, really, but, just doing the backing vocals and doing some melodic stuff I thought was good, a nice balance. Yeah, it's good that, I had that outlet to do actual, and just to get all that really crazy heavy stuff out. I didn't feel like I had to force it into the bullet stuff where it's always tempted to do that, because, I'm a big metal fan of all genres of the music, so, but it just didn't, sometimes it just doesn't belong there, and, we've grown this monster, and we didn't really want to kind of do anything that could jeopardize kind of, our fan base and our formula, really. So it was far easier just to go off and do something different by myself than just kind of risk doing anything stupid before it, really.
Now, as we know, the music business was certainly in a transition when the band emerged on the scene in the late 90s. Now it's sort of somewhat out of control, and a lot of people don't really know where the hell it's going. What's your view on fans perceiving that music is pretty much free today, and do you think that it becomes more devalued when it's that easy to attain?
Yeah, 100%. It's the downloading thing. It's not something I agree with, to be honest. You know what I mean? And if that upsets some people, I couldn't care less, really. So it's I see it as a good thing and a bad thing in a way. If it introduces new fans to the band and gets them into a show, etc. It's good. But at the same time, when it's just kind of needlessly downloading things for the sake of it, to such an extent where it is pretty much destroyed the music industry, is a bad thing. I don't see why that anyone would think that's a positive. You know what I mean? So it's just it's a generation of people growing up thinking that it's just okay, and it's not really their fault. It's just that's how they've grown up listening to music. You know what I mean? So if it's anyone's fault, it's the music industry's as well for letting it happen in the first place. So it's kind of a difficult, uncontrollable situation, which I think everyone that's in the music industry is learning to adapt with. But unfortunately, it's just how it is these days. It's not something I agree with, but at the same time, like I said, if it does get people into my band and through the doors to watch a show, then that's a cool thing too. So it works both ways in a way, I guess.
I mean, there's several other bands who just give their music away for free in the hope that fans will actually enjoy it and come to a show and hopefully buy a shirt. So do you feel that bands doing that at free will is completely devaluing their careers, considering that they've spent all the money recording the album, because it does cost money to record, as you know, or even someone who's invested in that band's career to actually just give their record away for free? Would you like to see some kind of, I guess, legislation put on the way music should be approached by fans as far as purchasing music?
In an ideal world, I think yes. I mean, we're guilty of putting things away just to try and get people to kind of on board to pre-order the record, etc., etc. So in that sense, I think everyone's guilty of it, even from the top of the tree to kind of young bands starting. So in a way, I don't think that would ever be possible. I don't think just because I think it's art, it's creative, I don't think there can be legislation to kind of police that in a way. But I think once it's recorded and a label has paid for it in that sense, and like people own it, then I think it becomes a different ballgame, because then, people have invested a lot of money and a lot of time into it. And then when you've got, like, bands giving away albums, etc., I understand the desperate times call for desperate needs, but I think, yes, it is devaluing kind of music in a way, and it's making a younger generation especially think that it's a normal way of accessing music, which it's just not, you know what I mean? So it's just you either got to be part of it or not. And lucky enough, we have a team behind us that's kind of thinking of innovative ways to get people to entice them to kind of buy the record and just get on board. And we're doing all right. We can't complain. We're one of the bands that is actually doing all right for ourselves. So I just feel sorry for the younger bands that are breaking through now on their first, second records that are having to just literally, like you said, just give it away because there's just no way people just want to buy it, which is crazy.
Yeah. Well, let's move on to more positive things. Of course, the up-and-coming Soundwave appearance, your second time. How much new music will you feature from the record? Don't give too much away as far as the actual songs.
Yeah, I think it'll just be kind of a balance of old and new, really. You know what I mean? Obviously, it's our first tour on the new album cycle, so we're super excited for that. So I think it's only right that, this set consists of the new stuff, but we'll always throw in kind of what we know the crowd want to hear as well, you know what I mean? So depending on how long the set is, will depend on how long
depend on the balance of old and new, really. So if it's a 40-minute set, 20 minutes, 20 minutes old mixed in, nice and balanced. I think that's the best way to do things.
Now, back to the haircut. Have you worked out new stage moves, because you won't be doing much headbanging?
Not really, no. I haven't done a show yet with the short hair, so it'll be interesting to see what happens in the first couple, but as soon as I get used to it, it'll be nice. It'll be cool. It's it's a lot more manageable without sounding too girly. Just wake up and kind of it sorts itself out pretty quick, which is good.
All right, well, thanks again for your time, Matt. We can get you to say a couple of last words to the Australian fans, and also choose your favourite track from the latest record, Temper Temper.
Yeah, just big love to all Australian fans. We're going to be over very shortly. Our new album Temper Temper's out. Make sure you pick it up, give it a listen. Hope you like it. My favourite song, probably Breaking Point, is the opening track. It's just a banger.
Fantastic. Well, let's check out some Bullet for My Valentine now on andrewhaug.com. Thanks, Matt.
Cool, thank you.